I just want to say thank you guys so much for helping me get to 1.5 million subscribers. And again, if you aren't already, please subscribe. Let's just keep it going. It helps me a ton in the algorithm so YouTube knows people like these types of videos. Canada sucks because half the country speaks French and the other half lets them. But what's funny about this is this was actually posted in a British subreddit. Okay, mate wanker. Bro, you made that. This is your creation. It's been over 250 years since you've controlled the US, so you can kind of dodge all the responsibility there. But the Canadians left the British Empire in 1982. This was like yesterday. So Canada is like Belgium, but real. You're just upset because our French-speaking neighbors got conquered when you couldn't manage to do it in Europe. Ooh, good point. The European Union surrounded by Russian and American forces. I'd never thought I'd die side by side with the French. What about side by side with a friend? I never thought I died side by side with the French. I love this meme format because you never know what twist it's gonna take. Even when staring at certain death, the British are still not gonna call the French their friend. Even if they're fighting side by side. We will fight together, back to back, so I don't have to look at your frog face. Remember, they're kind of good together when it comes to knocking Russian teeth together. Meanwhile, the American defense industry in February 2025, all of our American defense companies going down, but European defense industry February 2025, all the stocks are way up. I haven't invested yet, but they're definitely making it look pretty good. This is coming after the news that it looks like maybe the Europeans are gonna have to bring back those old empire militaries again. Mom said it's my turn to be the arsenal of democracy. Meanwhile, in Sweden, finally joins NATO after 75 years. NATO then collapses. Bruh. They gotta be one of the most unlucky nations. Joining NATO right before the US is about to leave. Damn! We're just swapping places, I guess. Anytime Redditors claim the US is the most corrupt nation on Earth, travel you must. Perspective you need. Yeah, definitely Reddit needs this meme. Is the US a corrupt nation? Yes. Are there way more corrupt nations all around the world? Also yes. First worlders in general are so sheltered. Imagine having to bribe the fire department before they'll show up to your house. Grass, you must touch. Me, teaching my grandchildren Spanish so they can continue with my Duolingo streak. The legacy must live on. Gonna pass down my account and password for generations. We're never stopping. I'm keeping Duolingo for 1,000 years. The owl can never die. Military uniforms throughout history be like, in 2025, we need camo to avoid getting spotted. Just spit all over my monitor. Versus 1225. Come at me, bro. I have drip. I love the way we did it back in history. I actually cared what they look like on the battlefield. I don't care if wearing red gets me immediately shot. I need to look fly. And what a crazy week for both USA and Ukraine. Meanwhile, the Argentina subplot of the president being judged for pulling a crypto scam. This was a weird part of season 25, but as far as weird subplots go, I did kind of enjoy it for a second there. Me explaining to the medieval peasant that you can get purple dye by just mixing red and blue. Why didn't they ever think about that? Classic stupid medieval peasants. Can't say I'm surprised. Wow, he's right. This is a really cheap way to make purple dye. You could become the high lord with the money you'll make. Meanwhile, the Byzantium sniper with a crossbow aimed at my head. Yeah, big Byzantium is just not going to allow that. Yeah, I'm into history MFers when they have to actually read about history instead of just watching Oversimplified or playing War Thunder. I'm out of here. Make me read and shit. Imagine learning history not through memes. You can kill the man. However, you can never kill the idea. This is the biggest contribution this Roman emperor gave to the world. His idea of putting a bunch of leaves in a bowl and then eating it. Thank goodness he didn't give in to the anti-salad propaganda. In fact, you know what? If they didn't oof him, we might not have salad. I bet you it was like the opposite effect happened. Crazy Julius Caesar loves salad so much he named himself after it. No, Salad Man, don't go to work on March 14th at 44 BC. I must invent more salads. He knew he would have to sacrifice his life for his idea, but man, was it worth it. Thank goodness he did. Why is Salad Man wearing perfectly good leaves on his head for no reason when he could use them in a salad? Is he stupid? Meanwhile, in a Kyoto ramen shop, they just put a bounty on the heads of 2 people who left negative reviews on the restaurant. They take this stuff seriously in Japan. Actually, I'm a little surprised this isn't happening in like Italy or something. I wouldn't expect this from Japan. The owner of the restaurant literally is gonna send the samurai after these guys. Hi, aspiring Japanese here. Question, if I'm not mistaken, a bounty implies oofing someone or taking their life. But does this not go against the Japanese concept meaning to live? It seems to run counter to that, but I may be missing some of the nuances. Absolutely insane tweet. Aspiring Japanese here? How do you do that? Can I do that? The weebs are out of control. The Japanese concept meaning to live is hilarious. If only Western culture had this. Did the Japanese have that? I know about a Japanese concept that would make them not live anymore. Oh, but then there's also the kamikazes. Being on a plane in 2025 be like, it's a little bit more a little tiny bit more dangerous, but it's all good. You definitely can't say it's not entertaining. No, for real, what the hell's going on with planes? Somehow he's behind it, huh? American companies forgetting to use pride profile pictures this year. This brought up a very good point. We are going to have a very interesting June, aren't we? Will they do it? I have a feeling some might not as much as before, especially Google, considering they willfully changed their maps to the Gulf of America. It reminds me of this classic out of Bethesda. Me when I'm fighting in the Second Civil War and the bomb I set off accidentally oofs the Rizzler. Not the Rizzler! Anybody but him, my homie, my Sigma, how they were left in Ohio. He gets 5 big booms. Boom! Don't worry, I'll take care of you, buddy. Man, I really hope he's not watching this video right now. Putin watching himself go from Ukraine's #1 most despised man to #2 in the space of 1.5 days. That was fast. He definitely won't have like quite the amount of memorabilia in Ukraine about him. Memorabilia is probably definitely not the right term. But don't test him. I'm sure he could easily take back that #1 spot very quickly. Norway's defense minister said the United Kingdom is Norway's closest and most important ally in all of Europe. Friendship ended with actual strategic and economic allies. Now Euro cuck nation is my best friend. God save the king. No EU gang. Let's go UK and Norway. Woo! Definitely didn't have that on my 2025 bingo card. I honestly would have never expected this. The UK and Norway kickstart new defense agreement and boost for European security. UK continues to step up on European security to deepen defense ties with Norway. Died in 1042, reborn in 2025. Welcome back, North Sea Empire. Reviving the Vikings almost 1,000 years later. You know, honestly, I'm just kind of glad to see the UK getting a friend over there again. I feel like so many people in Europe just kind of shun the UK. They deserve to have at least one buddy, right? About time, at least. According to the Central Committee of Ukraine, since the beginning of the year, earthquakes have been recorded in this region. One on January 20th, the other one on February 1st. Considering Ukraine isn't really known for having earthquakes, could it be in fact that they're actually doing something else over there? What kind of Ukrainian Manhattan project is this? Maybe Putin should be a little bit afraid. Welcome back, Ukrainian nuclear arsenal! Unironically, the only true and permanent security guarantee that Ukraine could have are nukes. I mean, that's what keeps North Korea around. I got you, brother. Yeet! This person has way too much hair to be Putin, but I get it. Oh no, you don't! As leader of France, I'm thinking he is going to start his own military soon. Me looking at my atheist, nihilist, and financially struggling American friends refusing to buy a haunted house for cheap. Bruh, just get it. Become homies with the ghosts. Honestly, I was asking myself this question the other day. I'm pretty sure I would be the dad in the horror movie that like wouldn't see the signs that I'm living in a haunted house because I spent way too much damn money on it. We're not leaving this place. I'm gonna get my whole family accidentally murdered in the night. Usually haunted also means disrepair, which can invite even more costs on top of health risks, mold, rotten wood. Yeah. Nope, don't care. I dropped like $1 million on this thing. We're not leaving. I mean, how haunted are we talking about? Is the house going to drive me to murder haunted? Ghosts that physically hurt me haunted? Or just they're gonna flip off the lights occasionally haunted? See, that's what I'm saying. I could deal with 2 out of 3 of those. Me, a German, 1 week into my US vacation. And we forgot the taste of bread. The Germans don't like our bread? I guess there isn't anything fancy about it, I will admit. There are great bakeries that exist with European style bread across the USA. You just have to look for them. Yeah, supermarket bread is pure trash. There is sugar in everything here. Yeah. How else do you think we got so chubby? American bread tastes like cake to me. Meanwhile, how the Germans create words. Kranken, which means sick. Also, Haus, which means house. Haus. Bam! Krankenhaus. Honestly, I like it. I appreciate the simplicity. It bothers me learning about how dumb English actually is. Why are more languages just super simple like this? We also have the Krankenwagen. I love this word. Release the Krankenhaus.
Krankenhaus.
Wow, I'm so butchering that word. But now let's take a look at the word slave in English. Traditionally, it's assumed to be because Slavs were often forced into slavery in the Middle Ages. The Latin word is from Byzantine Greek, so Slav and slave have a connection. Meanwhile, the origin of Slav, that is from the medieval Latin, from Byzantine Greek. People from these countries are usually considered Slavs. What exactly did the Byzantines mean by this? Yeah, there's a lot to look into here. Man, there's a whole lot of people in the US that should really learn about this whole thing. I think we'd have some extremely shocked people, to say the least. Classic Byzantium. Me, an Asian, logging in to read American news every day because it's entertaining while I have no idea what's happening in my own country. And I think a lot of people are doing this around the world right now. We might be a dumpster fire, but man, are we an entertaining dumpster fire.
Are you not a
entertained!
Meanwhile, the Americans getting on planes in 2025. See, this is why it's okay again to start clapping when we land. Because, to be honest, at this point, I think everyone might be a little bit shocked that I'm in one piece. No, actually what I've read is that we've actually had a pretty relatively normal start to the year in terms of the amount of accidents. Just the media's hyper-focused on this right now. There are accidents typically every single month, and it's been like that for years. Why does Canada, the larger country, not simply just eat the other one? All my geography normies out there, they've been saying this a lot lately. Like, wait, Canada's bigger than the US. They would totally win a war against us. They, with 40 million Canadians, would absolutely demolish 330 million Americans. Take your real GDP, divide by population. That's your real GDP per capita. Really? Is it really that simple? My God. Who would have thunk? Be China, second biggest economy. Look inside, actually 70th. Considering China has more than 4 times the amount of people as in the US, and they have the second economy in the world, that checks out. The US is actually nowhere close to number 1 either in that case. There were 13th, Luxembourg and Singapore dominating. A new image for the brand new Odyssey movie being filmed by Christopher Nolan, slated for release July 2026. All my non-historian friends are hyped, but for the historians, this image is like 15 9/11s. I mean, remember, it's supposed to be a fantasy. It's supposed to be a giant thing with one eyeball. I guess we just have to keep that in mind. In a world where time machines exist, meanwhile me in 1453 defending Constantinople. Why isn't this a movie? Please make a movie where you send a guy with assault weapons and grenades back to the year 1453. Or just any point, either the medieval ages or longer ago. They're making a video game about this basically, right? European Napoleonic War namings be like War of insert number here, coalition. Oh wow, yeah. How boring. Versus the names for American Napoleonic Wars. The Quasi-War, the First Barbary War. Can't pronounce that one. That's how you know it's good. Also, the War of 1812. Okay, honestly, to be fair, okay, obviously, the Napoleonic War is way more epic in Europe. What was actually going on in the US while Napoleon was in charge, pretty boring. Like, nobody cares. They teach us so much about this, but it's like, bro, I just want to learn about what's going on in Europe. I don't really care all that much about the War of 1812. The Brits didn't really care that much either. However, it is interesting that, yeah, like, all these epic wars that were going on in the 1800s against Napoleon, like the names. You guys couldn't have thought of anything better? The only time where America thought of like more creative names than Europe. War of the 4th Coalition, War of the 5th Coalition, War of the 6th Coalition. Like, damn, that is crazy. You didn't mix it up. That's it. Poland, who fights 123 years against Germanization and Russification, you will be subjected to numerous repressions and harassments. You created an entire national martyrdom in the fight for your rights. Congratulations, you have retained your national identity. Versus Czechia, become Germanized for 300 years. Recognize that the German language is cringe. Walk from village to village, remember what Czech sounds like. Congratulations, you have retained your national identity. They both did it in very different ways, but I guess Czechia did it a lot easier of a way, one way to do it without all the trauma, but maybe the Poles just enjoyed that part. It was character building. Be a Danish colony for 300 years, spoken language isn't the same in 2 places 5 kilometers apart from each other, creates 2 written languages, still manages to form a nation. Yeah, also Armenia had quite the interesting experience as well. Just before World War II. Oh my God, Benito Senpai, I'm your biggest fan. Do you despise the Jews too? No, you degenerate freaking loser. Meanwhile, during World War II, Mr. Adolf, I just invaded Greece. I wanted to add it to our glorious fascist Europe. You did what? Everyone forgets that the mustache man here really did think of Benito as senpai, since Benito Mussolini was the first fascist ruler in the entire world, and he was way before everybody else. He was doing it way before everyone else thought it was cool. What a hipster. Meanwhile, this was the exact moment Hitler realized, oh, this Italian guy, he's an idiot. He's gonna have to come down here and help him in Greece. Anyone who's studied the Greek-Italian War knows that Mussolini shot himself in the leg, changing the leader of the campaign 4 times in less than 5 months, while you're sitting there like Xerxes on a throne watching the massacre that was the Battle of this mountain. Meanwhile, proceeds to invade the Soviet Union. Yeah, those fascist leaders, sometimes just not very smart. When the German ambassador goes to hand you a declaration of war paper, and at the very same time he's here, announce that you have surrendered, Denmark being like, yeah, that's pretty fast. There's a joke during World War II about how Denmark only lasted a couple hours during the entire conflict. They were at war with Germany. Practically, the moment they got declared war on was the same moment they also surrendered. Let it never be said that Denmark isn't efficient. Yeah, was that meme made in Mexico? It took 2 months for Germany to conquer Norway, 6 hours to conquer Denmark, and 1 phone call to conquer But wait a second, when exactly did World War II even start? Well, at least we have multiple choice. September 1939, Germany invades Poland. December 1941, the USA joins the war, making it a true global conflict. September 1939, 1931, Japan invades China. Or September 1914, Hitler invades France for the first time, but has to pause. Oh, this is during World War I for 21 years before invading it again. Yeah, this is a kind of an impossible question to answer. I typically say C, but you know what? That's a really good point with B, is that in order for it to have become a world war, then yeah, you did kind of need North America to join in, because that pulls in another continent to be involved, even though South America wasn't really involved. I think the safe answer is probably A. There's really no right answer. If you pick D, I'd love to see your reasoning behind calling it World War II. Yeah, maybe it was just World War I, but World War I lasted like 50 years. I'm in the US, and when I was in school, A was the answer taught to us. Trick question due to Antarctica's continued neutrality in every conflict. People today, I'm so sick of living in historically interesting times. Meanwhile, people born in the early 1900s turning 60, I'm tired, boss. They went from just seeing planes for the first time invented to seeing a man go to the freaking moon. Almost nobody alive today can properly wrap their head around that. Being born in, let's say, 1855, living to 90 would have been more insane. You would have lived through the transformation of European political power and order, seeing the unification of Germany and Italy, the scramble of Africa, oh that's right, and then the world wars. Stalin be like, cracks down on people called kulaks, sends them to prison camps called gulags. Did Dr. Seuss write this? Ever think that's why these people decided to call them kulaks? Because so often they were going to the gulags. I would name myself something like that. Pretty sure the gulags came first. Rate my gaming setup. Looks pretty old, but man, pretty epic. 3.6. Okay, we've got a Chernobyl meme. I think your reactor 4 is about to melt down and cause a lot of nuclear fallout. This is why I don't build my own PCs, because if I did, that's probably what would happen. The USSR producing 263 tons of aluminum during World War II, fighting the British producing 205 tons of aluminum during World War II. Well, they weren't fighting, they were just trying to make a lot of aluminum. Meanwhile, a small village in rural Quebec producing 40% of all Allied aluminum, which equates to over 1 million? How the hell did they do this? Must be just sitting on like the most highly concentrated aluminum in the world. Didn't realize Quebec contributed so much to World War II. And here it is today with a population of a total of, wow, 12,000 people. Well, at least they got the aluminum. Being ghosted today be like, bro, my girlfriend left me on red for 3 days. It's so freaking over. Oof, bro. Meanwhile, being ghosted in the 18th century, I am now under the greatest anxiety and suspense, not knowing whether I write to the dead or the living, not having heard the least syllable from you the last 4 months. With an aching and anxious heart, I resume my pen. Wow, this is painful. Never even thought about it like that before. You'd have to go months on end not knowing if your significant other was even around. This is letters from Benedict Arnold to his wife, 1773. No wonder he betrayed us. Now I get it. Napoleon being ghosted by Josephine while speed running Italy is insane. Is this why he turned on America? Back in the days when it took 2 to 3 months to get letters, this was closer to normal. Across the ocean, good luck mate, the cholera got her. The Dutch thinking they got the steal of the century, purchasing Manhattan for only $24 in beads. Meanwhile, the tribe who sold it to them, who never even owned the land in the first place. They were businessmen doing business, I get it. It's not like the Dutch were even able to keep Manhattan. They were gonna get that stolen away. So that $24 was given to somebody that didn't even own the land, and then it was gonna get taken away. Man, the Netherlands taking so many L's. Hi, welcome to IKEA. Would you like some meatballs? That's in 1970, but back in 1940. Welcome to IKEA in German. Would you like a catalog of... We also have leaflets for the no German party. You could see the unhappy face. Okay, so IKEA did not actually exist in the year 1940. Oh man, they just want meatballs. However, the name IKEA is an acronym combining the initials of this guy, who was a Swedish billionaire born in 1926, and yeah, of course he had some ties to no Germany. Well, he was 16. Funny enough, there's a lot of 16-year-olds that are still with some ties. We need to build a strong and autonomous Europe. Macron, shut your goofy ass up. French thinking he can tell me what to do. Meanwhile, Europe must reach defense independence, says this German guy. Oh, LeBron's down for that. LeBron's down to listen to the German guy. Definitely not the French, though, apparently. It is kind of funny because that is the thing that Macron has been saying for a while. But now, all of a sudden, he says it, and I guess everyone's on board. We're gonna see. Then there's people in America watching their government freaking collapse. Dude, we've been like this already for like a month, and it's probably just gonna continue. How long does he actually do this for? Oh no, I think I think this video is edited. Yeah, well, rip to me then, I guess. New World Order lore just dropped. The EU starts pouring billions into defense industry to fill the power vacuum in North America. Meanwhile, in China, he's doing nothing, still winning. Israel, who's being a chill guy, within a year span, you have neutralized all Iranian proxies and become the sole superpower in the Middle East. And finally, the US, when you decide to abandon your status as global homogeny and world's most influential superpower to own the libs. I really wish I could do the Thanos filter and like slowly disintegrate. The US applying geopolitical shock therapy to its own balls for fun. I wish us Europeans made a few mechs, dreadnoughts, and space marines. When you decide to implode yourself out of boredom, what did the US mean by this? Man, this is gonna be an exciting year for my channel. I can feel it. There's so much stuff going on every week now. The US be like during the American Revolution, America has no king. America needs no king. This is what we were saying, I guess, when we were writing the Declaration of Independence, which is what is behind him here. Obviously, this British king at the time was going to cry. As the founding fathers intended, you had no kings in America. When the US starts making moves to frick with your country. Meanwhile, the Philippines, Hawaii, Mexico, Vietnam, Syria, Cuba, Panama, Chile, and Afghanistan. Yeah, I think there's even more countries than just that saying first time. Meanwhile, replies Canada and then Greenland. I think it kind of really is the first time for Canada. We've been trying to grab Greenland for a while now, though. Sorry, this is Iraq. Of course, I should have known that, but it's probably Syria, too, could be included. In fact, you can put a lot of African countries and a lot of Latin American countries, all of them, in fact. Oh, you know what? Yeah, I'm sorry. I forgot. It has been. I think it's just so normal now that I forgot. Like 1812. It's just like there was like a little bit of a hiatus taken there for a couple of decades, I feel. But now we're back on tradition. See, this is just following tradition. 4 million refugees, all being held back by Turkey. Ha, frick Turkey. Greece with only 10 million population. Yeah, Greece. I think I'd be a little bit careful there. Don't. Just don't, maybe don't. I never thought about it like that before. Slovenians explaining how they are not Balkan to the rest of Europe. Meanwhile, the rest of the Balkans waiting for them to just embrace it. I mean, they've been waiting for a minute now with Croatia, Bosnia, Bulgaria, Turkey, Serbia, Montenegro, North Macedonia. Like, when are they gonna stop pretending, really? Slovenians, you can't run from it. It will catch up to you. Heaven is when the mountains are Bulgarian, the beaches are Greek, the food is Turkish, the music is Romanian, and the hospitality is Serbian. But hell is when the mountains are Greek, the beaches are Romanian, the food is Serbian, the music is Turkish, and the hospitality is Bulgarian. How horrific. I didn't realize you can do all this in just the Balkans. And I've been studying this place for years. So fascinating. I feel like the beaches should have been in Serbia for hell, because they don't have any. Crossbow versus longbow video. Look inside. Anti-crossbow propaganda. Maybe the longbow shoots farther and with more impact, but are you going to be able to do that for literally hours long? You can probably shoot a crossbow for 5, 6, 7, 8 hours. You don't have to stop. But pulling that thing back constantly, and remember, like, sieges take days sometimes. Okay, Timmy, let's see you keep that up for 5 hours. As always, big ol' thanks to the patrons. Drew's Argentinian Trust Fund, rip Grandpa. I will force Drew to eat Spanish food unless he remembers Imperial and modern Japan have the same flag. Alexander the Terrible. Connor Pavlik. DOOCHBAGGINS. Fredrik Tibblin. KingBearHaze. LuxembourgLover. NordTyrol. the Goat. Tambre. Check that link down below if you want your name here.